Welcome, friends, to the Beaver Dam, and we are going to have a damn good time talking about gear, artifacts, the things that drive your characters. It's 50% of the viability of your roster, and if you are ignoring them, then you are setting up for failure. If you don't want to set up for failure, I highly suggest checking out the link down below. It's going to get you the wonderful, beautiful Rector Drath, as well as all this cool stuff popping up right here. You can scan that QR code if you want to. It'll get you started in Raid, whether you're starting a new account, second account, whatever it might be. It'll help you out. Jumping into this gear, though, this gear is vitally important in the game, and you can take it up quite high, but it costs a lot of silver. Now, this isn't going to be a guide where I go through the basics of like leveling up items. If you guys need something like that's super simple, let me know. I'm fine to make that video, as well as if there's any piece of this that confuses you that you would like more information, throw it in the comments section. I'd love to make a video about it, or if it's something simple and short, I'm sure I can help out, or one of the other people here in the Beaver Dam can help you out. So jumping into this gear, now you have to be very careful with gear because it'll suck up a ton of silver very quickly, so we are trying to be efficient with it. And gear is one of those things that's going to take you a long time to get good solid gear that's going to be really good for your account. And so you're going to get like a piece here, a piece there, and it's going to be building over time. So don't feel like you need to rush this by any means. So when it comes to gear, not taking it too far, we are looking at 3-star and below. So I would say 1-star and 2-star, don't ever take it past level 4. That's just the hard fast rule. 3-star, I'd say take it to level 8 max. Absolute max is level 8. 12 and 16 are saved for 4-star, 5-star, 6-star, and we're not asking you to do this, but eventually down the road, 4-star will be eliminated from your roster, and you'll be focusing down those 5-stars and 6-stars. But for now, 4, 5, and 6 will all benefit you. The lower the star level, the less stats you can roll, as well as the less base stat that you have. And so investing in these, lower star ones is just going to harm you overall. And so you can see here, most of my stuff is 3-star or above, because I've started to get that point. I'm over level 30. I'm like these, level, 1-star, 2-star, they're not helpful. And don't be dazzled by the epic on here. The epic just means how many stats you're going to start with, which is nice, but if you have an epic 1-star piece of gear, it's not going to be worth nearly as much as a 3-star common piece of gear. So just ignore the whole epic thing. It's helpful, but it's also misleading. So overall, level caps are, as I said, 4 for 1-star and 2-star, 8 maybe for 3-star, and then you can take up 4-star, 5-star, and 6-star up to 16 if they are good stats. Now, what is a good stat? Oh, really quick, careful not to swap your stuff too often. If you swap it too often, it does cost silver to swap out your gear, and that's going to cost a lot if you're constantly doing it. So try not to swap out your gear too much. Try to find good gear to start with, so that way you're not swapping too much. Luckily, a lot of the events that you're doing and a lot of events that happen during while you're starting will give you some good 4, 5, 6-star stuff, and you'll start to pick them up as you go along. And so you can find some stuff that are at least decent until you can get some better stuff. Like I had a really good, like it didn't necessarily have the best stats, but like, it had some solid stats, and they were 4, 5, 6-star in the health steal set. And so I utilized those a lot. I know I'm scrolling forever to try and find this, but wherever health steal is, we passed it somewhere. But, very helpful to have early game. Was just, you're kind of given some just lying around from like, I got it from like the Alice event and that type of thing. But going into the stats that you're looking for, one of the most important things that you can note is the boots and the gloves. Boots are the only thing that can roll speed, and so anytime you get a set of boots that have speed as the primary stat, you always want to take them and keep them. Speed is the primary stat on boots, is the greatest thing you can ever see, and so anytime you see that, you're going to want to keep it. When it comes to gloves, there's also a stat that you want to look for, which is crit rate. Let's see if I can find one real quick. There we go. Crit rate right here. Now, the reason we want crit rate, you can see down here, I've got 15% plus 85%. So any of your attackers, any of your people that are going to be dealing a lot of damage, this includes your campaign farmers, typically are going to be attacking people like, you know, Kale and Sung Wukong is who I use. Kale's the primary one. Sung Wukong's just there to support, basically. But you can see here that my crit rate's at 100% if you add those two numbers together. And that means he's critting for almost every attack unless there's certain things that change that fact. And that is so helpful. It increases his damage by a large amount. And the easy way to get crit rate early on is through the gloves. So make sure you're keeping an eye out for gloves that have crit rate as the primary stat. And then, as I said, boots with speed is the primary stat. Speed is key. It doesn't matter what character you're using, speed is key. If your characters take the first turn in PvP, you're going to beat your opponent. If you put more speed on, you're facing a clan boss, it means more turns. More turns equals more damage equals more rewards. Speed is key. Any piece of gear that has speed is something I would save until you can replace it. Speed is the absolute king in this game. So attackers, get them some crit rate, but overall speed is king. Now there's one more stat that we want to be looking for, and that's accuracy. So accuracy right here, just a brief description of accuracy is essentially, accuracy is how easy it is to apply a debuff or remove turn meter. Basically anything where you're affecting an enemy in a way besides damage, that is going to be affected by accuracy. And so you want to make sure that you're paying attention to getting accuracy as you go. We'll go into more how important accuracy is and that type of stuff in another video, but it's something to keep on your radar. So speed first, attackers are going to get crit rate, and then accuracy on basically anyone that you get in this game is going to be nice. So speed first, crit rate, accuracy. Those are the three stats you're looking for most. Now you'll see these armor sets, like, you know, the chest piece can be rolled into multiple different stats. In general, when it comes to stat increases, it looks really good to have flat stat increases. You know, you have stuff that are going to be like, oh, 100 health, that type of thing, and it looks good in the early game. As time goes on, you're going to be looking for those percentages like I have here, HP percentage, attack percentage. You want those percentages always, because if you're going for the flat rate, it's not going to help nearly as much as you get your characters up. As that are low level, it's going to help significantly more, because, you know, a percentage of a small number is much less than a percentage of a large number. But keep in mind, those percentage stats are always king. So if you get a chest piece that has a flat stat, not nearly as good as something that has a percentage stat, like a health percentage or that type of thing. With the top three, the shields, the helmet, and the weapon, all three can only roll one stat for the primary, and then secondaries, of course, can be anything. And as always, as I said, we're looking for speed, crit rate, accuracy as your first three stats. Really quick side note, don't worry about getting full sets. I know, you know, it's like you want to get the full set where you're like, oh, I want something in crit rate, oh, I want something in speed, and we'll talk a bit more about sets in a future video. But as you're starting out, please don't worry about it. It is fine not to have a set together. It is more important that you're just finding good gear that has speed, that you can feel comfortable leveling up as you do your missions, because your missions will be like, oh, level up a piece of gear to level 16, and you're like, but I don't want to do that to something that's bad. So be looking for good pieces of gear, not necessarily pieces of gear that fit within the within a certain set bonus. That is something that we can focus on later down the road after you start collecting a bunch of gear, and then you can take those mixed and matched pieces and kind of refit them into full sets later on. So please don't focus on the stats. It's not something you need to worry about just now. Hey, have you considered getting Rector Draft today? You should. You should start a new account, or, you know, maybe you want to start a second account, or a fourth, or a seventh. Hey, I'm not going to judge. You do what you do with your time. You know, hey, we all need a little something to make us happy in our life. And if it's Raid Shadow Legends, start your account today. Scan the QR code or to follow the link down in the description below, and you'll have a damn good time with Rector Draft and all of this fun stuff, as well as Ugo and a lot of other cool stuff as you level up. So try that out today. Also, we're going to go through a couple things really quick, not to worry about. One of them is the sets. Another one is farming. I wouldn't worry about farming early on as you go through your campaign, as you work through dungeons and try out all the dungeons, which this is a great place to get all kinds of stuff to help level up your characters besides the tavern things, you know, ascending and leveling up. This is where you get a ton of your secondary leveling up stuff. And so you're going to be spending a lot of time in here in missions and all types of stuff. So, you know, as you work towards this and work through your campaign, you'll slowly build up some gear that is going to be usable, that is solid. I wouldn't suggest overall wasting your time trying to farm tons of gear early on, because really you need to get to brutal difficulty to start getting, you know, easier farms of good stuff, as well as the higher tiers of dungeons, which means you need access to a lot of stuff. So main focus early on, brutal difficulty 12, basically get to the end of brutal difficulty as fast as you can. Do not focus down farming these artifacts, these gear. You can do it as you go 100%. Another side piece of, don't worry about it yet, we'll get to it in a future video, is going to be the forge. Do not spend any of your materials that you get for the forge. They are super nice, but you need to know what you're doing, and also keep in mind the golden rule of Rage and Shadow Legends. There is a better time to spend it, and it's not right now, it's during an event. So keep in mind that golden rule. Stay away from the forge for now. We'll address it in a future video where we can talk a little bit more about it, because it is going to be a little bit, you know, important, and some of the gear pieces from that are amazing. There's one set that I absolutely adore, and I cannot wait to talk to you guys about it, but I don't want to overload you guys in this first video. So also, as a side note, really quick, when it comes to the forge, all of your materials to use in the forge are from faction wars, and so anytime that you can, be spending these keys to be able to get materials for your forge. And so eventually, this is way down the road, eventually you'll want a team for each of these different faction crypts. But for now, you can utilize, you know, whatever characters you end up getting, like whatever legendary, like Sun Wukong, or, you know, your Kale that you're using as a campaign farmer, and you can use them to solo whatever faction they're a part of whenever that opens. But just keep an eye on that. Spend whatever keys you can. Make sure you're trying your best to get as much of those materials, and we'll come circling back around to it soon, I promise. That's about it for today. Just to recap, essentially, don't be moving around your gear too often. You're going to be wasting a lot of silver doing it. You know, when it comes to leveling up, don't take them past level 4 if they're 1 to 2 stars, not past level 8 for 3 stars. And, you know, I can see a 2-star or a 3-star being brought up to level 8 or level 12 if they have the speed boots, or if they are a arm piece that has crit rate. I could see that, so keep that in mind, but that's going to be very rare. It's especially if they have speed rolled on them, then I could see something like that happening, but you're going to want to be careful with taking them up much farther than that. 4-star, 5-star, and 6 stars, what you're trying to go up. 4-star, level 12, 5-star, 6-star, level 16, feel free to do it guilt-free as long as it's rolling good stats. And remember, the stats you're looking for are A, speed is king, speed. Everything should have speed. And then next up, crit rate on your attackers, and then accuracy on basically everyone. Little side note, of course, focus down the percentage stats over flat stats on other things such as attack, health, defense, that type of stuff. You can't roll percentage stats on speed. You can't do it on accuracy, unfortunately. That would be way too OP. But focusing down your extra stats should always try to be percentage stats. And then, of course, don't worry about getting sets together. It'll come with time. Don't worry about farming. It's okay. It comes with time, and it comes as you get farther into the game, because a lot of the early game stuff you can farm is not going to be worth your time. So push as far as you can and utilize what you end up with in your roster, and don't feel too bad of getting a couple garbage things early on just to get you through campaign. That is fine. But try to focus down if you see like boots with speed, if you see arms with crit rate, if you see any of that kind of stuff, make sure you focus it down, you throw it on your campaign farmer, and you have a damn good time doing it. And then don't go to the forge. Leave the forge for now until you know what you're doing. I feel like this is just a general rule in Raid Shadow Legends is if you don't know how to spend something, don't spend it yet. You'll find out soon enough. Thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, if you want to try out Raid Shadow Legends for yourself and you haven't played it before, go check out that link down below. Maybe you want to start another account. Once again, go check out that link below or go check out this QR code. You get all of this fun stuff today. It is amazing. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you for giving a damn.